There's one question that Google determined was one of the strongest indicators of a positive work environment is, do you have a friend at work? And so I always encourage franchisees to not only do the formal opportunities of operating the business, hold one-on-ones, schedule meetings, share information, but also encourage those outside of the work environments. Every one of our business owners has a gas grill in the back of the office and a basketball hoop. So we have picnics, we have cookouts, we invite family. So for me, it's really about getting to know your team and getting to know your employees, get to know your people, and you're going to build a successful environment.
Have you ever wondered what it really takes to open a successful franchise? What if you could learn hard-earned lessons from someone who's been there and done it? Welcome to Care to Lead. I'm your host, Cynthia Corsetti. Today, we have a truly insightful guest with us, Justin Waltz. He's the Director of Franchise Development at the Junkluggers. Justin has played a pivotal role in expanding a business model that's not only profitable, but also environmentally conscious. With his unique background in sales and franchising, he's here to share the 5 things he wishes he knew before diving into the world of franchising. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you so much, Cynthia, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So let's dive right in. Your journey with Junkluggers has clearly been filled with both challenges and triumphs. In the article, you talk about the importance of aligning with a brand's mission before opening a franchise. Can you share more about why that alignment is so critical and what that looks like?
Absolutely, I sure can. And thanks so much for having me again. And to your point, 100% of our franchisees, as part of their onboarding process, when we award a franchise, is ensuring that our core values and our mission and ultimately all of the methods and strategies that we are differentiate us in the marketplace, which is we offer sustainable disposable services to customers so that they can easily discard all unwanted junk in all kinds, which is all about improvement in the community and providing a better place for all of us to live, which means keeping items out of the landfill and diverting and rehoming a lot of the goods that we take away. So the very first thing we talk about is core values, mission, and our ultimate goal, which is improving every single community that we're in. And so to your point, alignment in that with every single one of our franchisees and all of our entrepreneurs, that's really, really important. It's something that I talk about quite often.
So it's funny that we're talking about this. I just returned from a meeting with one of my clients, and we were talking about vision and mission and alignment. And there's corporate vision and mission and core values, and organizations have them. And I'm sure the Junkluggers also has their vision, mission, alliance. But there's also personal core values. And often when you ask somebody, do the mission and do our corporate values align with your personal core values? The answer is going to be yes, because they'll look at these visions and they look at these values and they sound great. And like, yeah, that's what I want to be. But how do you go deeper to really understand what that person's core values are? Because often we don't even know what our own core values are unless we have done an actual exercise to figure that out.
That's a great question, right? So part of the overall franchise discovery process, and one of the things that I love to get into, is understanding the why behind how the candidate and ultimately how the entrepreneur ended up joining the Junkluggers, at least for our first discovery process. So throughout the entire process of learning about the Junkluggers, our mission, vision, values, the tactics, what differentiates us, our customer strategy, is really understanding why the candidate themselves is interested in opening a business. And as you know, in franchising, we get candidates from all across corporate America, former entrepreneurs, professionals, you name it, right? And so everyone brings a different set of vision and a different experience. And so that's one of the best parts of being a part of a franchise is the community and the vast background that everyone brings. So everyone comes to entrepreneurship or the desire to be in business for themselves, but not by themselves, which is why you join a franchise organization. But everyone comes with a little bit of a different background and a little bit different reason. So the why behind those personal goals is really important to me. So what I like to do is I like to understand the background. So first of all, how did we get here? Right? So tell me everything from how you were raised, tell me about your family, your siblings, how you got involved in the business community. Maybe it was a television show, maybe it was a book, maybe it was actual personal or professional experience. Sometimes it was an experience, especially for the Junkluggers. A lot of our franchise candidates come to us because they had a scenario of transition, or a family member had items to be removed, or they had experience with another firm. Other times they had experience with us, and so they want to join the Junkluggers family. But for me, I like to understand all the way back to how we got here. Tell me about your background, then tell me about your goals, right? So looking out 3, 5, 10, 20, what are your goals? I think we all should have a clear vision, at least within the first 1 to 3 years of where we're headed. And then for me, it's all about the why. I'm a big believer of Simon Sinek, start with why. And so personally or professionally, I like to understand, what are your goals personally? What are your goals professionally? How do they intertwine, right? Because we're all in business, and ultimately business and lifestyle, when you own your own business, right? I always say businesses are like children. They keep us up at night. Sometimes they behave poorly. Sometimes they behave well. But ultimately, your business, especially in your early years, becomes a part of your life. And so I think, I look at kind of things like the financial fit, the family fit. Does your family believe in the model and believe in our mission and what we're doing, as well as the financial fit? Those are all connected personally to every single entrepreneur. Everyone brings a little bit of a different vision and goals, but then in order to really, I think, build successful businesses and support franchisees, even when working with our business coaches and our operations teams, we have to understand the why and what the long-term goals are for every single franchisee within our system.
I love that. And I think there's also, anytime you're in a business development role and you're trying to get franchisees to come in, and it's anywhere, right? When we're trying to sell something, there's a piece of it that is almost like dating, right? We want to show the best side of what owning this franchise can be and what being a part of our family can be like. And we always run a risk of people's expectations. So we're setting a certain expectation for people. How do you avoid being like, the guy you meet on the dating app who's perfect with a great picture, and then after like 6 dates, you're like, yeah, that's not who this is. Or like the Verbo that you rent that looks great on the screen, but not so much in person.
Absolutely. I always say it's very much like dating, right? And expectation setting is all part of the process. What's really important for me is, number one, is validation. So having our franchisees spend time with franchise candidates and express the first year support. What is your first year like? What is your pre-opening process like? And then meeting with legacy franchisees that have been in the industry for 9, 10, 15 years. Part of joining a franchise brand, we've been around 20 years, is we have legacy franchisees. We have new franchisees. We have folks that are growing their businesses and really investing in growth, growing like crazy. So for me, validation is a big part. And so franchise candidates come into the business, they have the opportunity to spend time with those new folks, those emerging and growing franchisees, our legacy franchisees, and ask realistic questions. What is your day-to-day? What is your skill set? How does your skill set benefit this business? So what are some of your weaknesses, and how did you fulfill the gaps in those weaknesses? Another big part of that is the financial, right? The piece of making sure you understand the financials of the business. I believe as franchisors, it's our fiduciary responsibility to teach franchisees how to make money. I love our mission and our vision, our values, and our drive to really improve the environment in the community. But we all make investments in time, energy, financial investments. So it's important that the business returns those investments in not only fulfillment and enjoyment, but also profit. And so for me, I'm really invested in engaging franchisees to work with our candidates to make sure we're answering questions. Also setting up the financial models, going through those pro formas, making sure you understand that the item 19 and the franchise agreement, it's all part of the tactics of making sure that we have the right individual, but also looking at the legacy and looking at the vision for our industry. I'm a big believer in the industry as well, and painting that picture for what does your business look like 5 and 10 years from now. In franchising, we know we have our empire builders, we have our solid performers. Some folks are going to stay locked into a market and really saturate one market. Others may have the opportunity to build an empire, and maybe that's a part of their vision as well. And so I support that in any manner that they want to bring. However, what I like to do is make sure that we're connecting franchisees with candidates, making sure we're getting all of the questions answered. There's operational questions, there's financial questions, there's how do I build my business? What's your day-to-day like? And also, I like to work with candidates around their skill sets. Some people love sales and love to get out there and build the business and beat the streets and meet everyone and go to BNI meetings, right? Other people are more analytical or operational, and it's really important that the franchise candidate can envision themselves in the day-to-day, understand the work that's required, but then also have a realistic expectation of, okay, if this is not my skill set, how do I fulfill those gaps? And ensuring that we have the playbooks and the franchisees, we match those franchisees with those candidates to make sure that we get all of those questions answered. It's also understanding what's the pre-opening process, what's that first year look like, how do I work myself a little bit further out of the business, when do I do those, what are the next investment levels to make to take the business to that next step. So for me, it's all about raising a franchise system and bringing in new franchise candidates is not a solo game. It takes a village. And so for me, it's really about connecting to the network.
Okay, something you said in there really resonated with me because in part of my work with executives, you'll find someone who's maybe been in a field for 20 years and they're retiring or they want to change careers and they're really not sure what direction they want to go. And one of the things that you said, which I've never heard of a franchise person doing, but I loved, is almost like job shadowing. And that's kind of what I do with someone who's making a career transition. I'm like, just go pretend you're in high school again and just shadow for a few days. Like if it's a field that you've never done and what you're offering is go meet the people that are doing this, meet the people that are successful. And you could even take that one level further and say, go meet somebody who didn't succeed in this. Like, here's the name of somebody who it wasn't right. Find out why, what they didn't like. Because then you have a really good picture. And anything on paper and anything online doesn't connect as well and resonate as well as when you're talking to somebody who's really living that experience. And when you get to follow someone around for a day or two, that's an amazing way to see if it's a good fit.
You're right, absolutely. And I'm going to be honest, junk removal is fun. It's a lot of fun. And so we have franchise candidates that go for ride-alongs in trucks. And they come off the truck at the end of the day and say they had a blast. They got to work out. They had a blast. That's not the business model. We don't encourage our franchisees to actually haul the junk, but it's a lot of fun. And so I encourage franchise owners, again, fun, fit, family, and financial. I encourage the franchise owners to go see the business. You're in the business of logistics. We got bright, big, beautiful green trucks out on parking lots. And ultimately, you're going into homes, right? We're a warm lead. So when people call us, they have a need. We're going in to solve a need. 80% of junk removal is transitional. It's upsizing, it's downsizing. And so when we get to meet families and we get to support, the community, it's a lot of fun. And so you're absolutely right. I believe if you're going to invest your effort, your energy, your time, your money, spend time in the business and understand what your day-to-day is going to look like, right? And understand what is the fun part of the business? What's the not so fun part of the business? And what's the day-to-day like? What are some of the challenges? And so absolutely, whether you're investing in a donut shop, pizza, junk removal, I want to spend time in the business. And I love that kind of job shadowing mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it's sometimes it's upsizing, sometimes it's downsizing. I know personally, our basement just seems to, it grows junk.
Right.
Every couple of years, or not even a couple of years, once a year, we probably have to have someone come and haul it all out just because you just accumulate so much stuff. It's amazing how wasteful we are as a society.
Junk removal grows.
So it's great that you're reusing it.
That's right. Junk removal grows. And we, for whatever reason, we thought our parents were the hoarders. And we see every single generation on down continuing to consume, continuing to be concerned about environmental. So that's really important as well. And so as we continue to consume, we've got to be really smart about rehoming and diverting. We also have a lot of needs in the community for furniture and things like that. So giving back is also a big part of our mission.
I know there's a store in Baltimore, and I can't remember what it's called. Second Chance, I think it's called. And it's huge. And we're going to be redoing our kitchen here in Pittsburgh. And when they take out all of the cabinets, these people from Baltimore will actually come get our entire kitchen and then put it in second chance so somebody else can reuse like all the cabinets. They're still in good shape, but I don't like them anymore. So therefore we need a new kitchen. And you guys have something similar, right? These big locations that they can go and
we do.
Tell me more about that and where they are located.
Yeah, we do. So we offer a remix market. So it's a part of our business model and our franchisees have the option to adopt. We have light versions, which is more virtual or part-time, and then we have full-time versions as well, where franchisees invest in an actual storefront. And we offer rehoming and diverting of furniture into the community. We also work with a ton of charity partners. And to your point, partners like that store, not everyone offers trucking or has labor to actually move furniture around. So we work with charities and clinics and religious organizations, you name it, that might need furniture for those in need. And we actually do a lot of drop-offs. We provide a lot of labor and a lot of logistics for those charities as well, and work directly with our remix markets to get furniture in the community. We also work with furniture refurbishers and artists and special recyclers. There's so many things in the home that you wouldn't believe that is actually really difficult to get rid of, like paint and batteries and things like that. So we also are a partner in the community for getting rid of kind of those special needed items.
Yeah, I think we had a giant projection TV at one point that like nobody would take. We're like, get rid of this thing.
Yeah.
So where are you geographically in the country? Like, where are your hot spots? Where are you looking to get into? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so we're looking to franchise all over the United States. We have 235 territories awarded across about 86 franchisees. We started the business in 2004 and we saturated the Northeast. As naturally, we started in Connecticut as well as New York. So we have territory available in almost every single major market in the United States. What's exciting about us, we've been in business for 20 years. So we have a majority of the United States covered as far as the top 100 DMAs with franchisees in the market with a proven model. Now, we are looking for partners to come in. Doesn't mean that because there is say we have a franchisee in Atlanta or a franchisee in Texas, we have markets available in almost every single city because we believe in a saturation strategy and we have such a large addressable market, both on the residential side and the commercial side. Our commercial business is growing like crazy, that we have availability in almost every single market in the United States. We fully support the markets in all around the US. We have an appointment center, so a national call center that's open East Coast and West Coast. We have lots of franchisees out on the West Coast as well in California. Our national call center is in Connecticut and Arizona, so we offer support for every single one of our franchisees. And so, yeah, we're open around the country.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm curious, and I don't know if you're able to share that here, but what would a financial investment look like for someone saying, this sounds great, I would like to be a part of that?
Absolutely. So I don't have our item 7 right in front of me, but I will say I'll give wide ranges, right? So depending on the number of territories the franchise owner is investing in, we do have a truck rollout schedule, pre-opening marketing strategy, and lots of awesome training that includes an in-person 1 week in Connecticut with tons of pre-training, all virtual. Our investment is somewhere in the range of 150 to 300,000. I'll keep it wide. There's a lot more details in our item 7. In one of our very first calls, we talk about with franchise candidates is what does that investment look like, and what is that range, and what does that mean for that range? We're fairly low cost, fairly quick investment. Our trucks are ready to roll. We get franchisees on the road in less than 90 days. We do a really aggressive training schedule. So I'm excited to invite anyone in to learn a little bit more about our business. But yeah, we have a very, I would say a very fair and low cost model to get into the junk removal business with 20 years of proven systems.
How hard is it for you to find help, find people to actually drive those trucks? Like if I wanted to be a franchise owner, I would not see myself. I can't even lift my own stuff. Right. So I'm not going to do that. But how hard is it to find help?
It's a great question. And so I support those dreamers because almost 20 years ago, I was on a junk removal truck myself. And so I get really excited when I meet our luggers and I get to meet all of our junk removal professionals out in the field, because we are not a skill-based business. So we're not hiring plumbers. We're not hiring electricians. There's no licensing. We ultimately are hiring for attitude, and then we train the skills. You know, I always say, like, think about Starbucks, right? Incredible customer service experience, great attitudes behind the counter. There's a good chance that your barista may not have made coffee or knew anything about coffee at the exact same time a year ago, but we hired for the attitude and trained the skills. So junk removal, we're looking for really, really great people to work and have fun every single day. How hard is that to find? It's actually surprisingly not very difficult. I say we compete the most with the gig work, right? So your Ubers and your delivery drivers and things like that. We're essentially a hospitality company. We are going into homes. We're working with people in transition. We're providing amazing customer service and a wanted need in the community. With that in mind, we work early morning to fairly good times in the evening. So we attract a lot of gig workers. We also attract a lot of hospitality workers because we're daytime work. We pay a very competitive base rate. We also, our luggers earn gratuity, which makes us also a really great environment to be in. It's a lot more cultural environment. Our franchisees build an opportunity for our luggers to go out and operate a truck essentially all day. So it's a lot of independence. So we also offer a lot of basic business, logistics, accounting, sales. So our luggers actually pick up a lot of great skills. So I'm a big fan of the luggers. I support those dreamers because I was on a truck 20 years ago. I learned a ton of skills, and I'll say that I've seen we've had professional athletes as luggers, scientists, PhDs. We've met some really, really awesome people that have been on a junk truck and in Junkluggers. And that's the fun part of the job. And so it's actually a lot of fun to build a culture and hire for this role. And I absolutely love the job.
How do you do background checking? Like a lot of part-time workers, I'm sure, and gig workers. How do you background check? Because you're sending people into people's homes. You have to trust them immensely.
Absolutely. So we do background checks on everyone that's going in the home. We want to make sure that we're providing a safe environment for everyone. We also do a lot of work around safety. So driving checks, dash cams, things like that. So a driving record, and demonstrate that you have a clean driving record, as well as background check is really important, which is why I think we pay a competitive wage plus the opportunity to earn that gratuity, which is why we attract some really strong talent. So yes, for consumer protection, as well as those on the road, safety is my main priority. It's paramount in our organization that we talk about safety. So not only going in the home, but ensuring that we have great professionals behind the wheel is really important to us.
What's one of the challenges that maybe a new franchisee or you've seen new franchisees surprised by when they first start out? Because nothing's perfect. Mm-hmm. When you start out in any business, you're going to hit a challenge or a roadblock that you didn't expect. What is something that's come up from some of your franchisees that maybe you've had to pivot your leadership in the organization? What have you found in challenges?
That's a great question. So at the simplest form, we're a logistics business. And so we attract franchisees from various backgrounds. And I find that our analytical and more of our planners, right, have a tough time with the immediate need of junk removal. And so one of the biggest challenges that I find is really adapting the business to the franchisee, understanding that junk removal is very, very sporadic and it's difficult to predict. And so if you look at some businesses like moving or other home services, right, I might go and I might sell a product or a service that then I can schedule a week or two out, maybe a month out, and I can start to build a plan for my business, right? Whereas junk removal, it's very much a pain-based business. So as soon as you, Cynthia, know that I'm going to clean that basement, it's on your mind. You're like, I'm tired of this basement. I'm going to clean it this weekend. Then you're going to make this pile, and that pile has got to go because until it's gone, it's a pain. And so franchisees, as we build our business and we roll into various busy seasons, we have kind of different seasonalities, all for different reasons. Our businesses spike, and we are the solution-minded professionals. The quicker we can be there, the better logistically we plan our businesses. A lot of times we're making changes on the fly, right? So if you can imagine, you've got 3 or 4 trucks running around the road. Customer calls, they have an immediate need. It's probably one of your VIP customers or maybe a realtor that is referring you a lot of work. They just went to a closing, and guess what? The house is full of junk. And their buyer is buying the house today. They're going to the closing table today. We're the ones in the community that make that happen. So I think part of the biggest challenge is just understanding the flexibility of the business is a big part of how we how we serve our community. Sometimes that's hard for others. Others really love the kind of the sporadic nature of the business.
So a lot of times when people decide to buy a franchise, they may have been maybe working in a day job for years. Maybe they were a producer, maybe they were a leader, maybe they weren't. But if they get into a franchise role and say they own maybe 1, 2, maybe even 3 or 4 they want to get into, they're suddenly going to be managing a diverse group of people. So as a leader, what advice would you give to them about how to manage them when each of them have their own goals and challenges? What leadership advice do you have?
That's a great question. And one of the biggest things we talk about is managing the hourly workforce, right? So if you came from a more corporate environment and you've never had to manage an hourly workforce, you're absolutely
It's very different.
way different. You're going to be dealing with call-offs, people coming in tired, coming in late. You're going to have to kind of set those policies. So for me, what I encourage a lot of folks to do is, number one, a really strong onboarding process, getting to know your employees. Culture is king, right? We all know that culture eats everything else for breakfast. I think it's an old business quote, right? I also encourage an adoption of a business operating model. So I'm a big fan of Traction and the entrepreneur operating system. All right, so I encourage all of our franchisees, when working with an hourly workforce, to bring everyone into the business, share the mission, the vision, the values, share the data. So set your goals, share data, and really work to rise and encourage growth within the organization. I think everyone that comes into the business should have a growth plan. I think everyone should have the picture on the wall with 3-year vision, their nickname, where they're from, and ultimately creating culture is so important when working with that hourly workforce. There's one question that Google determined was one of the strongest indicators of a positive work environment is, do you have a friend at work? And so I always encourage franchisees to not only, do the formal opportunities of operating the business, hold one-on-ones, schedule meetings, share information, but also encourage those outside of the work environments. Every one of our business owners has a gas grill in the back of the office and a basketball hoop. So we have picnics, we have cookouts, we invite family. So for me, it's really about getting to know your team and getting to know your employees. And that's where I encourage anyone. It doesn't matter your background, corporate background, entrepreneurial background, get to know your people and you're going to build a successful environment.
Okay, so I'm going to jump off of the franchise business a little bit and just ask you, as a leader, as you look back on your career, what's one of the biggest leadership lessons you learned the hard way?
Wow, that's a great question. For me, it's the people. The people are the only thing that matter. And so one of the biggest things that I learned the hard way was capturing feedback, making sure that you're always open-ended, making sure that you are always checking in with team, and you cannot get anything done without a really quality team. And so one of the biggest things I learned the hard way was, you can brute force your way into any business and you can work your tail off and you can grind and work all night, but you're going to hit a point where you're going to need top talent. So as a leader in any business, my most important role is to recruit, attract the best talent, make sure we're doing check-ins, culture, very clear vision, very clear goals. And ultimately, it's all about the people. As I've learned, I've tried to work my tail off. I've tried to not sleep at all and grind. And I've always found that until you have the best possible team on the field, that's the key to winning. I know it's cliche, but I believe in ultimately every single business that's successful, it comes down to the people. And so for me, I've learned the hard way. I've had wrong teams, wrong people, or just flat out not listened. And now I try to keep myself open to feedback, make sure I'm listening to my team, and ultimately make sure we're spending time together.
That's great. And it's hard because, especially in industries where finding help and keeping help is challenging and difficult. And at some points when you're interviewing, if they have a pulse, you're like, yeah, we need you, let's start. And That's such a critically bad thing to do, because I'd rather say no to 6 candidates and find the right one that's going to be the right fit and fit the mojo, fit the environment, be the right fit, than to take the wrong person and just keep cycling through over and over.
Absolutely. I also encourage mentorship. I encourage growth. We encourage professional development. every year in the fourth quarter, we do a professional development boot camp that's open to every single team member within Junkluggers. So to me, it's all about growth. I've been blessed to have really great growth opportunities, and I try to extend that to every single one of our team members.
Well, that's great. So finally, and my listeners and the people who watch Care to Lead already know that Care to Lead is actually my signature leadership system, and it's built on the foundation of 4 pillars: clarity, authenticity, responsibility, and engagement. So that being said, I always ask all of my guests a closing question about one of those pillars. And today, I want to focus on authenticity. In your opinion, how does authenticity play a role in successful franchise leadership?
That's great. I'm so glad you asked. And it comes back to the people, and being an authentic, transparent, down-to-earth leader is so important. And so not only am I really encouraging and love getting to know the people that work for us, but I love to share my goals, my vision for the business, share what's working, what's not working. Authenticity is not about always being successful. It's also about sharing what didn't work. I think we learn from mistakes. Every single one of our leadership quarterly meetings, every one of our team members has to do a WTF slide. It's called WTF, and it stands for willing to fail. And so I encourage all of our team members to share with every other team member every quarter. Tell us about what you attempted or what you had on the docket for this quarter that actually didn't work. Did it fail? Did it not get off the launch pad? What actually happened? And so I think when we're authentic as leaders, we should be talking about all the great things that are happening. We should be sharing our vision and our methods, but we also should be thinking about our bad days, and we should be thinking about things that didn't work and what did we learn from them? Because if there wasn't challenges, then we wouldn't have learning. We wouldn't have opportunity. And so I think sharing challenges and sharing your journey is so much more important than just celebrating the wins, because we all love to celebrate wins. But to me, being an authentic leader is about being in the journey as well and understanding every part of that journey.
That's awesome. Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. Your insights are valuable and inspiring for our listeners. And to all of our listeners, I want to thank you for tuning in today. Remember, leaders who care, care to lead. Thank you.
Thank you so much.